Hey, good morning, Dylan. This is a demo video for you for your Electrum Sabers Scion. Thank you very much for your patience on this. You had originally reached out to me and sent this to me and wanted it by June 4th. And you sent it, I actually received it on April 25th. And so I figured that would not be a problem at all, but you had me design a metal chassis for it in the place where I get that printed. Um, they had printed all the parts, but then messed up one of the parts and had to reprint it. And they don't send any of the parts until they reprint the one that they messed up, and then they send it in a bundle. And that was a bit of a fiasco, and it took a long time. We were thinking that we weren't going to have it to you by June 4th. But your parts came in yesterday, and I told you, okay, well, the parts are here. I'm going to do my best to get it done. So I went ahead and I got right to work and got it done for you. All right, this is installed with a Proffie. Is a 2-button setup. As you and I spoke about, I did put 2 tactile switches on the front of the clamp card. So the front switch will be power. The back switch right behind it will be auxiliary. I left the underside of the card hollow so that it gets lit up from underneath with the crystal chamber that I have in your chassis. I left your blade plug in it for now. I don't know if you saw it or not because I think the Saber came directly to me, but your Saber did come with a blade plug, a Neopixel blade plug that has a crystal in it and that lights up. So I left that in there to show you that it lights up. It's still even with your emitter. How to get to your chassis is you just want to unscrew your handle. All right, so we're going to unscrew the handle here. Going to take this off. There is a spacer in the handle. I think I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to glue that in before I send it off. But that is to press up against the speaker to make sure that it stays engaged. All right, but for now, I'm just going to put it in the handle. You'll see your speaker here. You just grab it and you can pull your chassis out. All right. And then this is what we talked about. So you've got a board or a battery cover right here. This is all polished brass and then SLS material. So you've got a battery cover right here. It's held on with magnets. There's 3 magnets on each side of the battery cover that exposes your battery. Let me grab a pair of tweezers real quick. I have a battery in here right now because I was testing it a bunch last night. But you can just pop your battery out like that. And then that exposes, of course, your battery compartment. I did have to run my wires in there and I could not hide them. There wasn't enough room to sink the battery down into the chassis so that I could put a cover over it and still have a hidden wire path. So what I did there was just try to make all of the wires black so they matched the chassis, and of course I ran them as neatly as I could so they wouldn't be an eyesore. All right, so spring side please for the negative side of your battery. It should just click right in there just like that. And then you can, this is an 18650 keep power, by the way. And then you can take your battery cover and slap it right in and it stays in place. All right. You're running a 28mm Smuggler's Outpost Elite speaker. Moving over here, this is your board cover. So if we take the board cover off, it is also held on with 6 magnets. I like to do that over my desk so I don't drop it. Your Proffie board is here. This is a Proffie V3. If I can focus in on it, as you and I spoke about, it is held down with some E6000, so you will need to pop this guy up to do any changes and then snap, not snap it back down into place, but put some E6000 on the sides and then hold it there until it locks in, and then you'll be good to go. As you can see, I put a 4-pixel accent strip on top of the board. This strip is wired in line with the actual main blade, so you don't have to do any separate programming for that. All right. On your board cover here, again, polished brass. You have these places here for shine through, and then I just put a piece of diffusion material on the underside so that the light would shine evenly. All right, so when you put this on, this grooved part here with the venting, it goes towards the back of the board so that it goes right over that LED strip and you have some nice shine through here. All right, moving up top here, the crystal chamber. So you have a real quartz crystal in here. Again, if I can focus, I wanted that crystal to be kind of floating in there. So there's 2 separate brass pieces that get glued in. You can see that there. a real double pointed quartz crystal, and then you had a very specific request for the back of your crystal chamber. You wanted a bit of an elongated type of hexagonal shape, or like a honeycomb shape. So you and I went back and forth on this design a little bit. I kind of tightened it up until I got something that you liked. So I hope that you like the physical appearance of what we were talking about in the drawings. You have a couple brass tubes going through there for wire management. All right, and then this is using a Smuggler's Outpost Switch Pixel PCB set. All right, there is another piece of a chassis that's in here. It's a very short piece. It's about in here somewhere. It holds a 14-pin PCB that you can barely make out right there. That doesn't come out, and that is held in place with that grub screw right there. So you won't want to mess with that guy. That's what's holding that in. It's clocked correctly to the depth it needs to be, so don't ever loosen that up. All right. To put the chassis in, well, before we do, we'll go ahead and turn it on. You have a kill switch located on the side of the board, or yeah, on the side of the board. Flip it up. All right, so I've got your crystal pulsing when the saber's off. For right now, you can just see that green indicator light because on the Proffie V3s, they have that indicator light. I will take this chassis back out of the saber when it's on so that you can see all this lit up. But for now, this is what this looks like when the saber is off. All right. Easiest way to put this in the saber is you just take your chassis, put it right in your handle, just like that. Bring your chassis over here, slide it in, and lock it down. All right, so we're going to lock it down here. Tighten it all the way down. You can kind of see that shine through the card. I thought that was pretty cool. Cool that it shined through there like that, and then hit power. And it goes solid, all right? There's your blade plug. So the blade plug is working nice. This saber is beefy when it's on. Plenty of sound. And you've got twist off. Sometimes my microphone does not pick up the actual sound because it's not the best quality microphone. But when you get this thing in person, this guy is loud. All right, so we're going to take your blade plug out. When you do that, use your blade retention up here. It's this guy by my pinky. That is your blade retention. All right, so loosen that up. Slide your blade plug out. This looks like that. Put that off to the side. You have Carl Chen V4 blade connector in there, so even if we don't have a blade in, gets a nice shine through. There is a copy of the config file that I used on your SD card. As you mentioned, you've got your own setup for this. I'll just go over it right now. There's 2 blade styles. It just has my sound font on it for now, but there is 2 blade styles associated with this. The first style is the main blade. The second blade style is the crystal chamber in the chassis. All right. I'm not going to lock my blade down because my blade's pretty tight. Lights up a blade very well, though. Blaster bolts just tapping auxiliary. Our blade lockup is holding it down and hitting the saber. See it right here. And we'll twist it off. This is my test blade. This is one of my test blades, but this is set up for a full-length blade. Of course, you'll be setting it up for whatever blade length you've got. All right, let me put my blade off here to the side. I'm going to put your blade plug back in so I don't forget it. It's very important. Now we're going to turn on and take the chassis out. All right. We'll just unscrew our handle here. Pull our chassis out. Now you got that shine through right up top of the board there through those venting. And we will turn off the saber by flipping the kill switch. That easy to do. All right. Of course, if you wanted to see that easier without putting it into the saber, you could put twist on. I don't typically send out sabers with the twist on feature just because it happens to go off accidentally all the time while I'm trying to explain a saber. All right, but take the battery out here because that's my test battery. Slap this back on, and I'm just going to put it back in the saber. But that is basically your Electrum Scion with brass chamber or with brass chassis. I hope that you like the way that came out. I appreciate your patience. I will make it a point to do some expedited shipping today to make sure that this gets in your hands in time. All right, thanks, Dylan.